today about AI. AI and LinkedIn specifically. And this is a trend I'm seeing more and more and more of every single day. And it's kind of infiltrating every aspect of marketing like anything else. If you've been around long enough and you've been in marketing long enough, you will see every single tool that has to do with communication or creating content or anything else get used and abused and misused and misplaced when it comes to marketing and sales and lead generation and everything else. And so what I'm seeing right now is this trend with AI, and specifically on LinkedIn with AI comments. This is something, they all sound the same. They all look the same. If you use LinkedIn at all and you use the LinkedIn news feed and you publish, status updates or news feed content, inevitably you'll start getting comments that just seem kind of fake, for lack of a better term. Now, they're coming from a real person's LinkedIn account, but they're very generic, or they don't really add anything. And especially the real telltale sign is I know some of the people that are commenting, and I'm like, I know that person in real life. They don't talk that way. They don't sound that way. That doesn't sound like something they would write. And the real danger here, and I've seen this on LinkedIn again and again and again, having done this for over a dozen years with LinkedIn lead generation for myself and for clients, is people are trying to fake authenticity. That's really the best way to say of what I see happening right now on LinkedIn is people are trying to scale themselves so fast and so far and so wide in terms of how many comments they leave, how many posts they engage with, how many messages they send. The problem is they're faking authenticity, right? And it's so alluring and tempting to say, oh, wow, I can use AI and it will literally read a post for me and it will create this great comment and it will make me look smart and it can do it on 100 different posts without me having to lift a finger. Or, the more classic example is I can use AI and some other different tools to, send 100 messages a day, and it can invent things and say things and look at someone's profile and have a smart, quippy, thing to say. And what I have found, and believe me, I want this to be true too, the number one thing we all want is more time. Of course, the number one thing that makes us all happier and more productive is, saving time and scaling ourselves. And so what I have found with LinkedIn, and the latest trend being these AI type comments, is I really personally believe it's doing your personal brand more harm than good. I think having AI comment for you or send messages for you or, write things that don't sound like you, I think it does more harm than good. I think people look at it and they feel a few ways. One is they feel like, yeah, you don't seem very authentic, or there doesn't seem to be anything memorable, or this sounds like AI. It sounds kind of phony and kind of generic and kind of fakey. And the other thing is too, then they just feel turned off. So even when I read these comments that look like AI, I almost want to kind of snarkily reply to the person like, hey, tell your robot good job, right? Or something like that. And I think, remember, the big core lesson in all of this for you and for me and for anyone else, the big marketing lesson here is we are still marketing to human beings. There is still a real person on the other end of each LinkedIn comment, each LinkedIn message, each LinkedIn invitation. And if you try to, treat it as a game and an algorithm and numbers and stats and data, you forget that each invite, message, comment that you're using AI for, or copy paste spam, there's a real person there, and they're going to take that still like a human being does. And the best way to kind of check yourself with this is simply think about, how would I act in real life? In real life, would I walk down the street or walk into a convention center where there's conversations happening, and would I just hand people generic quotes that I never say or do? Or would I just walk up and say, that is a very important post about leadership. I really applaud your effort in writing such thoughtful copy. Like, right? Like, that's a fake AI comment. Like, people will be like, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? Like, do you have a personality or a tone? And I think the great opportunity is, instead of just getting mad about it and complaining about it, the great opportunity for you and I is authenticity is more important than ever. Personalization, like legit real personalization, is more important than ever. That's going to stand out above and beyond all these other LinkedIn comments, all these other LinkedIn messages, all these other LinkedIn status updates, all these other LinkedIn invitations, the more you can be authentic and real and personable, people are going to respond to that and go, oh, wow, it looks like a real person. And so the key challenge here, of course, is how do you do that? How do you do that and scale yourself in a way that's effective and strategic and smart? So, for example, it's easy to do, but it takes a lot of time. And what I mean is, you can make a list of 100 CEOs in a specific industry at a specific type of company that have been in their role for however long, because LinkedIn with Sales Navigator has all these incredible search filters. You can make a list, pitch perfect, your ideal exact prospect, work history, company, industry, how long they've been in the role, what their job title is, where they went to school, anything and everything. Now, the problem is you still need to qualify each and every one of those leads. So if you were to take your time personally for each of those 100 people, and if you were to look at every comment they posted and try to post personal comments, if you were to look at their LinkedIn profile and try to message each person something real personal about, hey, I see you live in Chicago. I see you went to this college. I see you've been in this job for this long. I see you volunteer for, the United Way, whatever it is, like you could find all these great connection points. The problem is, and this goes back to, if you do that for 100 people, what if none of them need your service? Right? So what if none of them are in the market for what you're selling? And that's the challenge that I ran into initially when I tried to hyper-personalize everything on LinkedIn. And the great way I got around this, the great analogy, the great story that really clicked for me was flashing back to the 1990s. And my brother-in-law has been in sales forever. And I remember the way that you did business in the 1990s, and still today to a degree, was he would, wine and dine clients, meaning he would take them to a concert. He would take them to a professional sporting event, a baseball game, a basketball game. His work would buy him season tickets to, the Minnesota Twins, the Minnesota Vikings, the Minnesota Wild hockey team, all these pro sports in town, or they would buy him concert tickets, and he would take a prospect to a ball game. He would buy them dinner. He would take them to a concert. And the idea was, of course, that built rapport. It built relationship. They got to connect one-on-one outside of work. And then, of course, that's how, business gets done. Or they would buy him a membership at a golf course, right? And he would play golf with people. I'll never forget one time when I was over visiting with him and my sister, and I was still like a college kid at the time. He was checking his email and he kind of laughed. He goes, there's no way that I'm taking that guy to the Twins game. And I said, what happened? And he's like, oh, I got an email from this guy. He wants me to take him to a Twins game tonight. And I'm like, well, don't you have season tickets? Your work pays for them. Why wouldn't you take him? He's like, I need more clients, John. I don't need more friends. And he's like, he explained, I've already qualified this guy. He's not a buyer. He's not going to be a prospect for me. He's already got a vendor doing what I do. I already took him to a game and discovered all this. Now he's just looking to be buddies and get a free ticket to the Twins game, which, hey, that's fine in social settings, but I'm not going to waste my time and, business clout and money and expense and interest taking a random person to a Twins game when I could find a different prospect who I could qualify and try to close a deal with. And so I really thought about that long and hard when I ran into this problem on LinkedIn of, well, how do I know someone's qualified or not before I do all the work to personalize my messaging, right? Or personalize my approach? Because at the end of the day, you can spend 5-10 hours a day hyper personalizing and making friends on LinkedIn and building relationships and building rapport. But at the end of the day, those don't pay your bills. Those conversations don't pay your bills. Those likes, those comments, you might make a lot of friends, and if that's your goal, that's great. But if you want to make money and get business, you've got to really be strategic with qualifying your time and energy and where you're putting it in, along with doing business the right way and personalizing it. So what I discovered was a very simple approach was I still use LinkedIn to make a big list of prospects. So I make a list of 100 CEOs in a specific industry who have been in their role for a certain amount of time. They have this many employees inside their company. They, check all the boxes on paper of my ideal prospect type, correct? So I look at it and go, okay, I made a list. Here's a list of 100 CEOs on LinkedIn. I have direct access to their LinkedIn profile. I can send an invitation, a message. I can, do an email, whatever it is, I can get in front of these guys. Now, before I go and hyper personalize all my outreach to these 100 CEOs, I found a very simple way to qualify them first. I simply ask one question. I ask one question. I literally send them a one sentence LinkedIn message or email. And I basically say, hi, name of CEO. Would you be interested in my best free tips on blank? Or hi, name of CEO. Would you be interested in a free digital copy of my ebook on blank? Or hi, name of CEO. Should I send over a copy of my free ebook on blank? And what I'm doing is I'm qualifying their interest in a topic, a subject. So for me, personally, if I'm looking for clients who want to hire my agency to do LinkedIn lead generation for them, I'm going to reach out and say, hi, name of person, should I send you over my best tips on LinkedIn lead generation? Or hi, name of person, would you be interested in a free digital copy of my book, LinkedIn lead generation for business coaches or franchise consultants or whatever, right? And basically, I stop there. I qualify them with a very general question. Now, if the person says, yes, send the tips over, now I will personalize because they've checked the next big box on prospecting. You know, box one was building a list of people based on their job title, role, industry. They're the type of person I want to sell to, right? So that's good. They're qualified in that sense. Step two is, do they even have any interest? Are they looking for help? Are they looking for tips? Are they even interested in the topic that I want to sell stuff around? If they say yes to that, now I've got an opportunity. It's worth personalizing and following up, because out of those 100 people, you know, depending on how many say yes in terms of, yeah, I want the free tips, I want the free ebook, it might be 5, it might be 10, it might be 20. Well, it's a lot easier to personalize those 5, 10, or 20 responses versus 100 to begin with, correct? And then it really creates this nice cycle, this nice funnel where I deliver the free content or the free tips as promised. You know, step one is, hey, would you be interested in this? Should I send over the tips? Should I send over the ebook? They can simply say yes. It's a very simple ask. You're asking permission. You're not immediately including the ebook or a link. You're saying, would you be interested in this? Should I send it over? If they say yes, again, it's easy for them to hit thumbs up or yes. Now I'm going to deliver the free content and personalize the follow-up. So I'll deliver the free tips. Fantastic. I'm attaching the ebook as a PDF. And then I'll look at their LinkedIn profile and I'll say something like, also, I noticed you live in Chicago. I hope you're not a Bears fan. Man, what a rough season. Ha, 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 right? I'll default to sports because I love talking about sports. Or I'll say, hey, I see you live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. How do you survive winters there? My gosh, I saw the temperature today was 5 degrees or something. Or, hey, fantastic. Here's a copy of the ebook. By the way, I noticed you went to USC. Do you still follow the Trojans football team closely? Or, hey, I noticed you live here, work here, volunteer here. From your profile, you said you're a passionate, archery person. Oh, do you shoot arrows a lot? Like whatever it is, right? Find something to talk to them about, to personalize, to build rapport, just like you would in real life. Hey, I noticed you're wearing a t-shirt for the Chicago Bears. Are you a big fan of the team? Or, hey, I noticed you said you love traveling in your LinkedIn profile. What are your favorite spots to visit? So it's something where now you can start personalizing, and that breaks through that AI wall of generic and everything else. And the other challenge too is if you try to get cute with AI and have, and I've seen this because people will promise, hey, listen, my AI will look at their profile and immediately come up with icebreakers and things like that. It gets tricky. Like having tried this, for multiple years, it can get a little goofy. The AI can misread things. And again, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So if your AI kind of misfires, and here's an example. Say the person has, under the education, 2 or 3 colleges listed. Like maybe they got a master's here, a PhD here. Maybe they did an online certification here. If you use AI too much, it might just be like, hey, I see you went to Harvard, how was your undergrad time? And the person would be like, I didn't go there. I just got an online certificate there. I don't follow the team. You're an idiot, right? You have to look a little deeper. Or it might say they live in Chicago, but in the first line of their about section says loving life in Hawaii, right? And maybe they just forgot to update their location on their LinkedIn profile page. So you've got to kind of be careful with that. And that's why I'd still like to humanize it and look at the profile. The other line I like to put in often with any personalized messaging on LinkedIn is, unless LinkedIn is misleading me, looks like you live in Chicago. unless LinkedIn is misleading me, looks like you did your undergrad at Texas A&M. Are you a big fan of the Aggies football team? So you say, unless LinkedIn is misleading me, for a couple reasons. One, it gives them a context and a clue as to, oh, this is why you're asking about that. You saw it on my LinkedIn profile. And two, you're hedging your bets in case their LinkedIn profile is inaccurate or if you read it wrong. That really helps you kind of cover your tracks when you're doing this. So again, the big thing to circle back to is qualify and then personalize. Qualify them first with a very kind of topic-based question. Are you interested in this topic? Do you want free tips on this topic? Should I send you my best insights on this topic? Would it be helpful for you if I provided a free analysis on this topic? If they say yes, now personalize. And of course, the other part of this funnel and this approach is let that free content or free tips you send do the heavy lifting for you. If you're putting together an ebook, a video, a webinar, a podcast episode, an analysis, whatever it is, make sure it's really good. Make sure it demonstrates your expertise. Make sure it shows that you're really good at what you do. Make sure it provides value for the other person. Make sure it helps them see how you can help someone just like them get a benefit or an outcome they want. And make sure that it's all kind of, also including your personality. So they get to know you and your story and your journey and why you do what you do and why you're passionate. And that's why, for example, ebooks are great. I love ebooks. They're one of the most popular things to date, pieces of content that I've seen work well on LinkedIn. Meaning, hey, should I send you an ebook I put together with my best tips for how realtors can make more sales using LinkedIn? Hey, should I send over an ebook I put together on 3 ways CEOs can increase profitability and improve employee retention, right? Whatever those specific niche topics are, if you create an ebook that's kind of demonstrating your expertise, your tips, your thoughts, a case study on this topic, and it puts in your story, and again, you just mix your personal story and your journey with the content, then it does a couple things. People get to read a story about you, and if you do a good ebook, what I mean by an ebook is a PDF, right? So start with a Google Doc and write out the story and then get it designed. Get a designer, use real images of you, real authentic photos of you, your story, your company, your logos, your colors, your team in action, whatever it is. Don't just use stock art, and have someone design it. Do a really cool cover, do photos on the inside, save it as a PDF, share it with them, have it be 3,000, 5,000, 6,000 words. So there's real meat to it. And then have it be this combination of your story, your journey, where you've come from, and the problem that you're solving, deliver on the promise of the ebook, 3 ways to increase blank, or the 3 biggest mistakes people make about X and how to solve them. And then tell good stories. And what happens is if you do that with content, whether it's an ebook, webinar, video, whatever, you demonstrate expertise, you tell your story, and that makes you more memorable. You're bringing value to someone right away, and they're going, wow, you're not just claiming that you're good at this, you're actually showing me how you solve this problem. And the stuff you wrote or shared or recorded really resonates with me. I want a market like that. I want to solve problems that way. So how does it look to work together? How do I get you to help me do the same thing you talked about in the ebook? How you help people just like me, now help me too, right? So it's a natural way for people to kind of warm up and get to know, like, and trust you through free content. So you're not having to sit there one-on-one and educate every person and tell your story every time and explain things every time and present live every time. You can bottle it up and put it all together into one great presentation via an ebook or whatever. Now, the follow-up to this, of course, is you've got a reason to continue conversing with that person. You've delivered these free tips. Now you can follow up on LinkedIn, see what they thought of it. Hey, ask follow-up questions. Did it resonate? Did you like it? Did you have a chance to read it? No, I'm going to get to it next week. Make a note, follow up next week. Hey, did you have a chance to read it? Or did Netflix get in the way? Haha, or like, be fun, be personal, use your style of communication. Once they say, yeah, I read it, I really liked it, ask follow-up questions. Great, what resonated? What did you find most helpful? Oh, I really liked the part about XYZ. I know for me, that's a real challenge. Oh, it is. Okay, well, did you know we actually help people with XYZ? Would it be helpful for us to just jump on a call and I'd be happy to share some ideas for you? Oh, sure. Okay. Right. So it's a natural way as opposed to these generic, phony, kind of fake, I call them professional footsie of like, that is a nice post on leadership. I think you brought up great insights. Like that doesn't do anything. No one's going to say, oh, I want to work with you, I want to hire you, right? So unless you're going to put in all that effort and hyper personalize it, it's not going to move the needle. And worse off, you might put in all this personal effort and really get into the nitty gritty and be authentic with people, and they might not need your service. So for example, I might reach out to someone on LinkedIn and they say, oh yeah, I'm retired, I just haven't closed my LinkedIn profile. Oh, okay. Well, great. I'm glad I didn't waste time spending 10 minutes looking at your profile and crafting all these clever, personalized messages when you're like, hey, let's be friends, but I don't need your money, right? Or I don't need your business. So hope you find that helpful. I wanted to reshare this because I see this more and more and more, this trend of, again, people are trying to scale and play the game and hit the algorithm and use AI and be everywhere at once. But if you're outsourcing your personality, if you're outsourcing your authenticity, it's very dangerous. It's very tricky to do well with AI, at least what I've seen so far. And more importantly, you got to qualify people first. So try that. If you want more resources, just go to nemomediagroup.com, click on the free tab. I've got all my books there for free. I've got a blog for free, lots of these, templates and messages and scripts, etc., for you to use. Obviously, we offer done for you LinkedIn lead generation, so that's an option too. But I hope you find this helpful. Appreciate you so much, and we'll see you soon on another episode.